Named after the small South Dakota town where this Hall of Fame trainer is from, Mobridge tries to make it 3 consecutive victories. Coming up here at Belmont Park. His trainer, of course, known for one of the most famous win streaks in racing history with Cigar. We'll learn how it all started for Bill Mott back in the beginning. And Ostralinka has been second best each of his last 2 starts. It's been a beast, though, at Belmont. Back at Big Sandy. Can he get back in the winner's circle? We will find out coming up later on this afternoon. That is race 9. Welcome to Belmont Park Live. It is presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Great to be with you. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, Gabby Gaudet, as you take a look at the Naira logo. Debuted, new one, earlier this year. Proudly flying here on the infield at Belmont Park as we get set for race 6, approaching the 10-minute mark to post. I'm Greg Wolf. That is Andy Serling, New York Racing Association handicapper. We have a good card today. 10 races on the card. We're going to bring you races 6 through 9. And an intriguing sequence. Ostralinka we saw at Saratoga. Very good horses come up short a little bit the last couple of starts. Going to be tough today. Yeah, I agree. Get some class relief. Was facing some better horses. I mean, the horse who beat him last time could be a player in the Grade 1 Vosburg here next weekend, assuming he's going there. And figures to get some pace in front of him as well. The favorite, but the favorite for the right reasons. Difficult pick 4 today as well, right? I agree. We'll talk more about it coming up. Track conditions for this afternoon. Let's take a look. Main track listed as fast. Turf course is firm, cloudy, 81 degrees. Beautiful weather here in Elmont, New York. And we're going to have our post parade here coming up shortly for race 6. Let's take a look at the sequence we'll be looking at today. Race 6, 6 furlongs on the main track, $50,000 claiming event. The pick 4 starts in the 7th for non-winners of 2 lifetime. That 8th race is where Mobridge will try and make it 3 in a row, but he's going to have to deal with Iron Power, who's taking a big drop in class right next door to him. The 9th race, we'll see Ostralinka duel with Jabberjaw, among others in that field. And race 10, which you can see on the Naira Now app, which will close out the pick 4 when we're off air, 7 furlongs on the turf, but part of that sequence today. You can play all these races that we're showing you today by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. Bet 100, you'll get 100 in your account if you use that promo code LIVE. You can play with Naira Bets all across the country. Take advantage of that sign-up bonus going on now. All right, race 6. Let's take a look at this field that we have. Lex Vegas, 2-1, but it's a fleet attitude right now. Danny Gargan off the claim, who's favored at 9-5, Andy. Well, Danny Gargan's a guy who scares people. I mean, he wins, and he's coming off the claim. But interestingly enough, his numbers off the claim are really not that strong with dirt sprinters. Well, meanwhile, Lex Vegas only tried Belmont previously. That was a win. Had a couple of tries this summer at Saratoga. Unable to get into the winner's circle. We'll see here if a return to Belmont will be a winning move here for trainer Brian Lynch and Lex Vegas as we get set for the field to come through the tunnel any moment now. And here they come as we look at Lex Vegas, son of Street Boss, 3 for 9 lifetime for Brian Lynch with Luis Saez aboard. Well, it's that eternal question. What do you do at a short price, the horse running for a tag, a claiming price the first time? He's coming off an uncharacteristically poor performance as well. Against better, however. Big drop here. And here's Sarah off the claim for Mitchell Friedman. Kendrick Carmouche aboard. Didn't particularly like the wet track, and not so much the moisture, but it was a track that seemed to be very much carrying speed that worked against his running style. Here's our 9-5 favorite, a fleet attitude. Danny Gargan off the claim. Only try here was a win. He was wired last time by Mary the Music, who's a talented horse. He's a player, but seems to be a little overbet. Very, very Stella is the 4, Irad Ortiz Jr. for David Jacobson. Private purchase and switch to trainer and owner David Jacobson, who has a win in the card with a long shot and an intriguing horse who's been facing better. We have a rider change on the 5, Full Salute. It is Jose Lezcano riding for Lacey Gaudet off the claim. Well, the house horse being trained by Gabby Gaudet's sister did win riding a gold rail against Weaker last time out. Bolita Boys, Angel Arroyo in there. It's at 19-1. Faced much better last time, racing down on the inside, which may not have been the best place to be. This horse is almost 20-1 and finished second to a fleet attitude, who's 9-5, 2 races back. Has the look of an overlay. And Scarly Charlie is a player in this race here for Charlie Baker, second off the claim. Had some trouble last start. I'm Charlie Baker's biggest fan, but I think this horse a little overbet off his recent form. It's a tough spot. Multiple winner here at Belmont. Here is a look again at Lex Vegas. Brian Lynch, and coming out of an allowance optional 80 race here, down in for 50 today.
You know, he was right on the rail on Travers Day, which was the best place to be on that track. Not that it was a hugely biased surface, but it was the best place to be. Got a perfect trip, moved up inside, albeit against much better, but had absolutely no answer down the stretch, and now takes that big drop. We talked about this yesterday with a horse dropping and making the big drop. They're dicey plays, but his good races are better than these. This was when he won here 3 back, but the question, Greg, becomes which Lex Vegas do we rate to see today? And it's unlikely we're going to see this Lex Vegas, so is the one we see going to be good enough?
Yeah, we'll find out. But a return to obviously a track that he's comfortable at, we know that he likes. Maybe he'll wake up.
Well, that's fair. You know, maybe Saratoga wasn't a place he was happy, but he ran so well enough 2 races back, chasing outside. The rail was good, didn't lose by that much to tell us about. I always worry about heavy favorites, and I won't be surprised when he wins. I picked him second in here.
And he was training well, though, too.
But heavy favorites, or real favorites that are dropping off of bad races, that scares me.
Let's meet the 3rd member of our team for the first time this afternoon. Let's head downstairs, check in with Gabby Gaudet.
Thank you, guys. And I think the race really kind of revolves around the one Lex Vegas, because as Andy was mentioning, this is a horse who's dropping in class off of an unusually subpar performance last time out. On top of that, he hasn't breezed since then as well. So I take that as really a negative sign. And in terms of how he's behaving today, he's a horse that he walks into the paddock and he looks fine. And then as the time progresses and as we get closer to post time, he just absolutely loses himself. So that's kind of what I've seen so far today. I'm saying it's not something that's atypical of him, but maybe just something to keep an eye out for the one Lex Vegas. And we'll see if he'll show speed, his usual speed from the rail today. But he has other speed types to challenge him too. So perhaps a 3, a Fleet Attitude could be one first off the claim for Danny Gargan, and as you can see, he's getting a good warm-up here today. And I like to see that because in the paddock he was kind of acting a little bit lethargic, so just getting those the blood pumping here before the race I think definitely will help him, and the money is showing up on him. He's got the credentials to surely win this race, but guys, the gold star for me in terms of the physical appearance was the 7 Scarly Charlie for, oddly enough, Charlie Baker here. Now, I know this horse has not been able to get a victory in 9 starts. It's been a while since he's actually won, but I just really liked his confidence in the paddock. I like how he's staying with the pony, just confidently warming up as well. So we'll see. Scarly Charlie will have to put everything back together, something he hasn't done in quite some time, but love how he's looking today.
Well, some nice positives there for Scarly Charlie here in the Charlie Baker horse, second off the claim, who did face a Fleet Attitude last time out. Got bumped around a little bit in that race. Certainly could see it at 5-1.
You know, he's got some back races to give him a chance. I'm not going to say anyone is that impossible here. I think this is the 5 I had a little trouble making full salute. I didn't like Scarly Charlie and wouldn't bet him at 5-1, but I respect Gabby's thoughts on him. He was compromised by getting wired last time, but he wasn't close to a Fleet Attitude. And to me, his form has somewhat declined this year. It's more out of respect to Charlie Baker that I would use him.
And he's the elder statesman of the group as well, the only 8-year-old in this field. Again, he is on the board at 5-1. Meanwhile, our favorite, there is a Fleet Attitude at 2-1 here. Danny Gargan off the claim, and as you mentioned, that's always dangerous.
He's a remarkable horse in that in his career, he's run in the dirt 30 times. He's got 11 wins, 7 seconds, and 9 thirds. So he's a remarkable horse, 27 out of 30 hitting the board with more wins than seconds and thirds. He's an admirable horse. He's the horse to beat. I don't know that he's a 2-1 shot. I don't know that anybody's a 2-1 shot in this race, but I have no argument that he's a major player, and here he's just good enough and consistent.
9-5 right now. Meanwhile, next store at 8-1. Very, very Stella coming out of the grade 1 Forgo. So obviously a massive drop in class here, trying to refine some good form here now with David Jacobson.
Having said that, this is a horse that was competing in $16,000 and $25,000 claimers earlier in the year. So whether or not it's a drop because the trainer, who's a 6% trainer, was putting this horse in too ambitious a spot. He was 91-1 in that Forgo. But for me, David Jacobson, you see his numbers off the trainer switch. This is a private purchase by him. I don't know what he paid for this horse, but I know that David Jacobson is a much higher percentage trainer overall than the trainer that had this horse previously. And I think it's reasonable able to say that the horse might run his best race off the trainer switch for David, and I think that gives him a chance, and he's 8-1. So for me, that's good enough for me to bet a few bucks.
Horse was, you mentioned a big price. Look at the price he was in the Smile Sprint. 134-1.
And he finished third.
Yeah, hit the board.
Ran an 83 buyer. A figure that gives him a chance in this race. I don't love him, but I think he's not the worst play at a nice price.
No, here's another big contender at 6-1. He's not really taking much play at all. He was 7-2 on the morning line.
He was compromised last time by a track that was carrying speed. That was the day we had those big delays on 4-Star Dave Day with all the rain. You ended up downstairs. You and Paul got soaked on the roof. You guys came down and joined me in the Paddock studio. It was a little more comfortable. And Louis Vaporizer and Hay Jabberjaw, we'll see later in the show, ran 1-2 around the racetrack. So I'll give him an excuse in there. He's got the quality. He's got the good races. I don't think it was the mud that got him beaten as much as it was a track that was not conducive to his running style. So I'll give him a chance. His race 2 back at Churchill Downs in a 50,000 claimer. He ran a 96 buyer. Why can't he win today?
Yeah, before that start last out at Saratoga on the muddy track, 3 wins in his prior 4 starts. And that Churchill race, huge number.
Yeah, I mean, I think the point I'm sort of making and talking about these horses, I mean, we can even talk about the 6 Bolita boys, is this race is filled with horses that can win. So you've got the unknown factor of the 1 dropping. And listen, I respect Danny Gargan, and I respect the money on the board. I just don't think 8-5 is a great price to take on anybody in this race. I just want to fool around with horses, be it the 2, the 4, the 6, that are better prices.
Oh, there's a better price for you. How about 19-1 on Bolita boys?
Well, explain to me, Greg. 2 starts ago, he was 2-1 as part of an entry behind a Fleet Attitude, who beat him and was 9-2 that day. He didn't run badly. Okay, he lost by a length 3/4, but he didn't run badly. And last time out, he didn't get out very well. He was sort of he bobbled. He didn't really stumble. He bobbled to start. But he was down the inside on Whitney Day at Saratoga, a day that some people, I don't totally agree with him, but that was it, right. And that was a day, and we saw the second-place finisher in that race come back to win, an allowance race the last weekend, and that was a day you may not have been best off on the inside. He was down the inside, maybe the 2-path in the stretch. So what's so bad about his recent form that he's 20-1? Now, if he was 4-1, I wouldn't bet him, but 20-1, I've seen a lot worse horses at 20-1.
No, absolutely. Wouldn't be a stretch to see him win this race here at a big price.
I'd like to bet somebody. I'll bet $1 for $1. The 6 finishes out of the 5. How's that? That's my bet. I'm betting this. I wasn't going to bet the 6 to win. I bet both the 4 and 6 to win. They're both such crazy.
Well, if
prices.
you're going to make that wager, you're going to have to take the 6 against someone who's a much shorter price.
I bet he. I don't know.
6 against the 2?
No. I bet both the 4 and 6 to win.
Okay.
I think they're both very big prices here.
Well, it's going to be the 3's solid 8-5 favorite here as they load into the gate. We're just about set. Send it upstairs to the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown for the call. Here is Larry Colmus.
They're all in line. They're off. And Chero goes out to the early lead. Lex Vegas away running in second. Full Salute is out third on the outside. Then a Fleet Attitude and Bolita Boys. Very, very Stella behind them. And Scarly Charlie is last. 8 off the lead. Up front, the lead is shared by Lex Vegas and Chero. The 2 of them kick on as they head to the half-mile pole clear by 2. And then it's Full Salute on the outside of a Fleet Attitude. That first quarter's up in 23.07 seconds, so the pace not all that fast. Bolita Boys follows in 5th within 4 lengths of the front and clear from the trailers. Very, very Stella and Scarly Charlie around the far turn. Lex Vegas on the inside, Chero to the outside. Behind them, it is Full Salute who's 3 wide. Bolita Boys in behind horses now trying to squeeze through is very, very Stella, who just came through an opening on the inside and is putting in a bid as they turn for home here. The half was 45.84. The pace is picked up and Chero is the leader. It is Chero in front, but very, very Stella is bearing down on the outside after saving ground on the turn, coming right up alongside of Chero, and very, very Stella runs by. Very, very Stella and Arad Ortiz to beat Chero. Bolita Boys got third, Full Salute 4th in 109.98.
7-1, very, very Stella, and the move to the David Jacobson barn. This horse does run big.
Maybe if we could get it back to the move around the 5/16 pole, the quarter. This was an exceptional ride by Irad Ortiz. We were watching it. He really, and watch this, Greg, does he thread the needle here? I mean, there does not appear to be enough room. And, you know, keep in mind, when he steadies in here, I'm going to say, what an idiot Irad was. Well, he really went through a narrow opening, and there's no better ride than that coming through on the inside and angle out sweetly like that. This was an exceptional ride, and a horse we talked about beforehand, the 2, 4, and 6, our horses that were good value. They ran 1, 2, 3 here, Greg.
Yes, they did. 4, 2, 6, 5. Irad Ortiz, he's fearless.
Yeah, this was an exceptional ride by Irad. And let's give a little credit to David Jacobson, too.
Absolutely.
Private purchase, class relief, but at the end of the day, he got this horse to improve. This is a good combination between horse, rider, and trainer.
4, 2, 6, 5. Some big numbers there. 7-1 on Very, Very Stella. 5-1 on Cheryl. 21-1 at 14-1. And third and fourth in here. And
I won all my prop bets with the 6, Greg. Beat the
That's
5. The 5 actually ran fine. 5 ran very well for Lacey Cadet, to be fair, in there. Now ran her odds. At the end of the day, the 1 on the drop just didn't show up, and the 3 was overbet.
yeah, that was the puzzler, Lex Vegas. We wondered what kind of race we're going to see. Didn't see the return to racing from Belmont that we expected from Lex Vegas. But Very, Very Stella, big effort. Prices when we come back from a short timeout. Jose Ortiz, of course, one of the leading nominees for Eclipse Award winner this year. Injury yesterday. We'll have an update on his status when we come back.
This 3-time graded stakes winning millionaire defeated 20 Grade 1 winners. In the Dixie Stakes, he defeated Canadian champion and horse of the year Up With the Birds and set a new course record at Saratoga. Runner-up in the Grade 1 Manhattan and Shadwell Turf Mile, Ironicus ran 7 triple-digit buyers, including this score in the Fort Marcy Stakes. Half to 4 graded stakes winners, Ironicus has the speed, class, and bloodlines to become the next great sire by Distorted Humor. Ironicus at Clayton Farm.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Start earning your sign-up bonus right now. With NyraBets, you can use our state-of-the-art website to bet on live horse racing at over 200 tracks around the world. Bet anywhere, anytime, using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Build your bankroll with our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus now. NyraBets, racing's best play.
Back on Belmont Park Live, Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, Gabby Gaudet with you, and Irad Ortiz Jr. threads the needle along the fence, angles out, gets the win on Very, Very Stella.
Yeah, this really was an exceptional ride here. And Very, Very Stella, it shows the value of not just getting into a trainer that's more of a winning trainer, not trying to be overly critical of the prior trainer, but you see the win percentage, and it can also be tied to running this horse into Grade 1 in those kind of races, though he had some success in Florida. Logical spot, great ride, great job by everybody.
Such a big part of it, finding the right spots for your horses to run, and then they can win. $16.40 for the 5-year-old son of High Cotton. Wins for the 6th time in his career and debuting for the David Jacobson barn into the winner's circle. For more, let's head downstairs to Gabby Gaudet.
Thanks, Greg. Here with David Jacobson, who recently acquired this horse. And David, this horse had been primarily training down at Gulfstream, shipped up to Saratoga for the most recent race. How did you acquire him?
Well, he ran in the Forgo, and after the Forgo, the owner trainer gave me a call, asked me if I'd be interested in purchasing him. We made a deal, and my brother went over and looked at him, and he liked him, and we grabbed him.
Well, you grabbed him and straight into the winner's circle today. Kind of what's the strategy when you get a horse? What are you looking for in terms of trying to improve him in his next start?
Well, most important is soundness. That he doesn't have any major issues or minor issues that we can work on and maybe improve. And the competition. I mean, the race he ran in last time, even though he didn't run that well, it was good enough to compete at this level. You know, running against a Franck is one of the best sprinters in the country, maybe in the world right now. So, yeah, we took a chance with him, and he ran well today.
It's all about getting them fit and ready for the race, but also well spotting them, and that was exactly the case with this horse today. Congratulations, David.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Greg, very, very stellar in the winner's circle today.
Gabby, thanks. All right, Andy, so David Jacobson's won 2 of the last 3 races. He still has Ostralenka to come. He's on a roll right now.
Yeah, he really is.
How short a price is Ostralenka going to be?
You know, probably 8 to 5 and something in that range. He's the horse to be. As you can see, Chad Brown's had some meat, but David Jacobson is nipping at his heels. I mean, he's not going to have the firepower that Chad Brown's going to have over time. That's a lot of wins. This is only the 8th day of the meet, Greg.
And again, a very good chance he inches a win closer with Ostralenka in race 9 still to come. 2 to 1 on the morning line. Could be a 3-win day for David Jacobson. Time now for what's trending. And if you watched our show, the end of yesterday, unfortunately a spill in the final race on the card. Jose Ortiz, we saw him down, but did get up and walk off under his own power. Here's his tweet: well, I'm okay, happy to be home. Sad about Submit and the Christophe Clement stable. Thank you to everyone for the good wishes. He's off for his mounts through the weekend, going to have an MRI early next week, and we hope for the best.
Yeah, I spoke actually to his brother, Irad, shortly before the show, and he said they're trying to schedule the MRI, and hopefully they have scheduled it. But Jose is a fighter, and we're glad to see it's nothing serious, and hopefully he'll be back very soon.
And what a tremendous year he's having right now. Of course, Oscar Performance, regular rider, who you've made the case all year long. Maybe this is the 3-year-old of the year.
Well, he certainly belongs in a discussion, doesn't he? And I think his rider belongs in discussion for the top rider in the country as well.
Meanwhile, he's the regular rider of Elate as well. That near miss against Abel Tasman, and then comes back in the Alabama.
It's not going to be easy for her to overtake Abel Tasman for top filly in the country. She'd really have to win this race and then beat her in the Breeders' Cup to have a chance. But once again, and Jose is just, he makes so few mistakes. I mean, that's, to me, Greg, that's the mark of a great rider. It's not what you do to get, you can't really help horses win that often. You can do your job. Jose rarely loses on horses that are supposed to win, and that's what the best riders do.
We look at the leading U.S. jockeys by earnings. You felt last year, and he tops the list right now, it was just maybe some of the more not having those big wins on the resume that cost him the Eclipse. This year, he has those wins.
Absolutely. I listen, maybe I'm a little biased. We're in New York, and these are the guys we see. And no disrespect to Mike Smith, who's had a very good year and rides a lot of top horses, but day in and day out, and I think the award should be about day in and day out, and not trying to be critical of Mike Smith, who I think is a wonderful rider, but he doesn't ride as much as Jose does. And you talk about the last race, a $50,000 claiming race. If Irad Ortiz gave that ride in the Breeders' Cup, people would be saying, oh, look at this guy. What a great ride. You don't notice it. The general public doesn't notice it, but we do. And on a day-to-day basis, Jose Ortiz is the best rider in the country this year.
We wish him a very speedy recovery. We hope he's back soon, and we'll continue to update that story as we get more information. In the meantime, I want to remind everybody, of course, New York Racing Association, the leader in providing Spanish language content. Darwin Vizcaya, Luis Grandison provide pre-race analysis on the NYRA Now app. It's all available in HD. And, of course, race calls as well. Here's Luis with a stakes race from earlier today with the jumps. The second, the Lonesome Glory.
Está adelante Mother, va avanzando por fuera Hardaway Ose, cuerpo y medio contra Mother. Hardaway Ose está adelante y Hardaway Ose, como lo dice su nombre, se mandó a cambiar. Segundo Mother, tercero está arribando Swansea Mile, de cuarto finaliza Casino Market.
Grade 1 Lonesome Glory, and it was all the way, Jose, for Hall of Famer Jonathan Shepard with a 7-year-old son, a senior swinger.
It's nice to see Jonathan Shepard back in the winner's circle. He'd won a race for 47 straight years in Saratoga through 2015. Did not win last year, didn't win this year. He doesn't have the stock that he's had in the past, but he showed that he's still a great trainer and capable of winning big races. A race named for a horse, Greg, Lonesome Glory, that won 5 Eclipse Awards. A U.S. steeplechase horse that also won over the jumps in Europe.
Darren Nagel was aboard for the win. Here is Jonathan Shepard after the victory.
Surprisingly, because it doesn't usually happen that way, it did today. It worked out almost exactly as we'd hoped. He was going to jump him off, sit where he's comfortable, on or close to the lead. If someone wanted to take the lead off him, so be it. And actually, it worked out nicely because he got someone to carry him along all the first part of the race. And he jumped great. Darren gave him a very good patient ride and kept him going. I was worried that I thought he possibly would be in front jump in the last, but then I'm thinking to myself, that long run in with no more fences, and he just kind of keeps galloping with no fences in front of him, and some closer might out-finish him. But he hung on, and we got the job done. It was great.
Congratulations to Jonathan Shepard, Buttonwood Farm, and Darren Nagel, winners of the Grade 1 Lonesome Glory with All the Way Jose. We're going to take a break in the action. West Coast starting to take firm control of that 3-year-old division. Can he further cement his status as the top dog this weekend? We'll talk about it when we come back.
They're off.
Los Alamitos Racecourse congratulates all of the connections of Los Alamitos Derby winner West Coast for his sensational victory in the Grade 1 Travers Stakes at Saratoga. Since our first meet in 2014, many of the top stars in thoroughbred racing have raced at Los Alamitos. Who will be next? Join us for the Los Alamitos Fall Thoroughbred Meet. Opening day is Thursday, September 7th.
Back on Belmont Park Live on MSG Plus and Fox Sports Prime Ticket. Good to have you with us. Race 7 coming up momentarily here. It's been a tough couple of months all across, certainly the U.S. and the Caribbean, with the natural disasters that have hit. Hurricane Harvey, Irma, now Maria as well. And that earthquake in Mexico that registered 7.1 on the scale. Dozens of buildings toppled, over 200 dead. There was an 8.2 earthquake, one of the strongest the country ever felt in 100 years, hit the southern coast just a couple of weeks ago as well. So those came back to back. You can help with all of these natural disasters and help these communities rebuild by texting Red Cross 90999 and a $10 immediate donation. Again, text 90999 to support disaster relief with the Red Cross. We're going to get back to racing action here coming up. Race 7 next. And we're going to go 5.5 furlongs here on the main track. 16,000 claiming race. It is for non-winners of 2 lifetime. And a bit of a puzzling race because we don't know who's going to show up in here.
Yeah, it's always a question, especially at this level. But the 8 Leah's Dream is fine. I mean, I'm not sure what's not to like about her. Last time out, she raced against better horses. She chased outside in a day that the best place to be was the rail. She finished 4th with a 67 buyer, which is just faster than these other horses have run. She goes out for a very good trainer, Michelle Nevin. She's got a race that backs it up at Belmont Park, where, albeit in the slop, she got a 69 buyer and won quite easily. She just seems like the horse to beat, Greg.
She does, and I would think she's going to wind up going off as the favorite, right?
You would think, and she will. I mean, looking at multi-race bet, she's the favorite. In this race, I believe she's the number 5 in here outside, and Make a Little Love just was able to control on the front end. And it's very hard, I think, in racing when you have a track that's sort of tilted towards inside speed to be the one chasing outside. Because first of all, you're chasing, so it's hard to sort of try to keep up to a horse that eventually wins, and you're never going to really have that ability to pass her. And then you're on the outside. It's not the best part of the track. You see how she lost third to a horse that came up on the inside in there. I just think she's a logical horse. The other thing, Greg, we talked about this off camera. The 2 Sandshark, who is the second choice and currently the favorite, she's a much bigger question mark, isn't she?
Oh, absolutely. You have no idea what you're going to get with Sandshark, the 2. We're going to see right there, putting blinkers on today. Had a win against Maiden Special Weight at the end of 2016 at Gulfstream. Ran in a stakes race, which was obviously overhead the Busanda, and then sloppy track for 49 winners of 2. She really didn't run at all.
Yeah, and she's the one between horses. You see her in that all-out drive. I mean, you wouldn't pay a nickel for her here. She's 3-2. It looks like she's beaten. It does seem like Todd Fletcher's horses often find more down in Florida, and she did find more while getting a 61 buyer. Now, okay, they took a shot. They ran a big race, 2 turns. She didn't run well. You could forgive that race. Lockdown's a major player in the 3-year-old filly division. She came back last time. The excuse is a sloppy track, but she ran fine a sloppy track in her debut. She had no run at all last time out. Now they're dropping her in for $16,000. For what it's worth, on a drop of 50% more in claiming price, this is 40 to 16. Todd Fletcher's just 1 for 10 over the last 5 years. So he's only done it 10 times, 2 a year, and only had 1 win. She might win, but I think the 8 is much more reliable.
Now, there is a big, big, big red flag, certainly, with Sandshark here. For more, we're going to check in with our Paddock report with Gabby. It's brought to you by Shadwell Farm, building speed for the future. Gabby.
And, well, guys, we'll pick up where you left off with the number 2, Sandshark. And I kind of have to agree. There's red flags all over the place with this particular type of filly. First and foremost, as Andy was alluding to, is that Todd doesn't have great numbers with these types of drop downs. And secondly, the blinkers go on her today, just a regular French Cup blinker. But to me, it kind of makes it seem like Todd wants to wake her up a little bit and maybe lose her for the $16,000 tag. For what it's worth, in the paddock, she is a little bit washy. She doesn't really necessarily look comfortable, so at a short price, I just cannot condone going in that direction. Now, the 8, Leah's Dream, she looks good, and she has the advantage of being posted to the outside. It looks like a race that there could be some speed developing to her inside, but at least she'll have the option. So no real knocks on the 8, Leah's Dream. I think she's got a legitimate shot in here. As we move on to the 7, Uno Dude, this is a filly that's coming off a pretty lengthy layoff, and generally speaking, Ralph Nix, he doesn't get them primed and ready to go off of lengthy layoffs. And we see from her previous form that she kind of needed 1 race to build upon to get her victory in her second start. She's a filly I'm familiar with, watching her at Gulfstream last time out. She kind of holds a lot of weight, but I do think that Ralph has her in good condition here, and maybe she could be a factor. She is wearing front bandages off that lengthy layoff, though, and does take a pretty significant drop in class, guys.
All right, Gabby, thank you. So 11-1 on Uno Dude. I definitely thought intriguing here. Second time out, the drop in for Maiden 50 and gets that win. Was the favorite, was supposed to win that day.
Oh, she absolutely could win this race. I mean, Ralph Nick's a terrific trainer. He hasn't been doing as well in New York as he did on the previous time, and we'll take a look at her win last time out at Gulfstream. But as Gabby pointed out, last time out was almost 9 months ago on December 30th of last year. Listen, the 8 is not this enormous mountain to climb, but she is going to have to improve off that effort. Naturally, she should improve over time, but where has she been? And it's not a huge drop, because a maiden 50 to a 16 after you've won is not a huge drop, but it's not a positive sign.
And to expect improvement off a 9-month layoff?
It's one thing you sort of have that routine improvement with kind of a good 2-year-old going from its 2-year-old year and off for 4 months to its 3-year-old year. They might improve 4 lengths or something, but this is not exactly the same thing, Greg. But once again, I'm not going to knock somebody that's betting her at 11-1.
Well, you have another class dropper here in Fair Regis. What do you do with this filly by Bustin' Stones? Breaks her maiden for State Bred 25 maiden claiming at Belmont back in July. Tries a State Bred A other than allowance, which she was 34-1, ran to those odds, and now the drop.
Well, here's the thing, okay? you can see how wet that track was. But that doesn't, that being made, it's good sealed, but it almost looked closer to muddy, to be fair. She still ran well enough in that race that she can win here. And let's put it this way. Let's say you don't want the 2. You think, the 2's a drop down from Pletcher. I'm willing to bet against that horse, a short price. The 7, because the 2, 7, 8, and 10 are the ones that make sense in this race. The others are all long shots, essentially. Well, I don't want the 2. The 7's coming off a layoff. If you want to have one horse to back up the 8, or you want to play an 8 with or an 8-10 box, I think Fair Regis makes the most sense because she had no chance against the field she ran against last time, and she lost all chance when stumbling at the start.
Yeah, and then to mention, good point, the trouble there early on. Here comes our post spread. We're going to start with the one rainy night. I thought this horse is intriguing. Breaks the maiden against Florida bred maiden special weight. But then we haven't seen this horse since February of 2015.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm not taking horses off 2.5-year layoffs, but I will not argue that her last race was good enough to win here.
Showing some ability in the morning for the comeback as well. But 5-year-old mare has been off for a long time. Here is Sand Shark, the class dropper for Todd Pletcher, blinkers on.
As long as she doesn't come knocking on my door saying Candy Graham, Sand Shark, second off a layoff, does get a fast track. The question is how much she can run anymore.
3 is scratched. Here is Bonanno for Patrick Quick. Mike Luzzy rides.
Bonanno's the kind of horse that's good enough to maybe get a piece at a big price, and I think I would use in supers in the 3rd and 4th slot.
Irad Ortiz, that brilliant ride. Back in the 6th race, so look to go back-to-back here with Steve Asmussen on Lady Bergen.
A horse that was better on the turf, lost her form on the turf, and now they're trying her on the dirt. Her one dirt race wouldn't make her competitive.
39 to 1 shot here, double main, Pablo Fragoso, and this filly does have speed. Mare, I should say, 6-year-old mare.
She may give you a thrill for a quarter of a mile at a big price.
Uno Dude. For Ralph Nix, Eric Consell rides her 3-year-old debut.
A very good trainer. Might need one off a layoff, but certainly a horse that could get the job done.
And now our 9-5 favorite here, Leah's Dream, trained by Michelle Nevin.
She's just the horse to beat. She has the recency. She's run against some better horses. She makes plenty of sense and won't be 2 to 1. Will be closer to even money.
Fair Regis, who we were just talking about for Jimmy Ryerson with Jose Lezcano aboard.
She's another horse that has a real chance in here. She faced better last time out and stumbled to start. Her race 2 back gives her a real chance.
And in from the also eligible list, Persky's Spirit, 49 to 1 for trainer Juan Ortiz.
She does have some early speed, but not much else.
Pick 4 begins in just 5 minutes. Up and over $150,000 in the pool. Speaking of Candy Grams, you going to answer that door and accept Sand Shark to kick off the sequence? We'll find out if Sand Shark can do it when we come back. Stay tuned.
Shadwell Farm, home to world-class stallions, presents 2 young stars. Mo Heyman, undefeated 2-year-old. Multiple graded stakes winner at 2 and 3. A dazzling son of Tappet, winner of his first 5 career starts, 4 in graded stakes. Grade 1 winner, Tamarcuz, winner of the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. This son of Speightstown was a top international miler that earned over $1.8 million. Shadwell Farm, building speed for the future.
We're back on Belmont Park Live. Thanks for being with us. It is presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. And there's a look at part of that stallion roster. Run Happy for Claiborne, undefeated as a sprinter. Breeders' Cup Sprint winner, set a track record in the process at Keeneland. And never ran with the addition of Lasix, the only male this century to be able to say that. Run Happy now part, again, of that roster at Claiborne Farm. With more on the pace of this 7th race coming up, let's check in with Gabby.
Thanks, Greg. And this race is kind of hard to approach and having a lot of confidence in one single pick, because we have a couple of horses who are coming off layoffs, a couple of horses making surface switches as well. And one of them is the 5 Lady Virgin for trainer Steve Asmussen. Now, she started her career off under the training of John Kimmel on the dirt, and she showed speed that day. And just kind of looking at her, too, I think she will be forwardly placed, but she's got a really light frame to her. She really does kind of look more turf. Now, look, she's 7-1, but just mentioning her because she doesn't look like so much of a dirt horse, but I do think that she could be a factor in terms of the pace. Now, we'll move inside to the 1 Rainy Night, and bear with me, guys. She's 10-1, but she's on her toes. She looks good. She looked good in the paddock, too, and you could see her physically why she has 2 starts in as a 5-year-old, because she's just a big, sizable filly, or mare, I should say, and it just seems like the connections just haven't managed to keep her together throughout her career. But if she runs back to her last race, which was a long time ago, maybe she could be a factor. Maybe she could need a race too, but she definitely is the biggest horse in the field, and I thought she looked okay.
Thank you, Gabby. I think Rainy Night is interesting. I mean, granted, you talk about red flags with Sandshark. Red flags are certainly a 2.5-year layoff with the 1 Rainy Night. But her only 2 races she has run, she's run very good in both.
Yeah, listen, I'm never going to tell people that they shouldn't bet horses that are double-digit odds. If you like long shots, you're supposed to bet them. I'm also never going to bet on a horse off a 2.5-year layoff. So there's 2 nevers coming from me.
Okay.
I'm very definitive. That doesn't mean you shouldn't bet this horse if you like this horse. It's just not something I want. The 5, I'll tell you what, though. I'd take 10-1 on the 1 before I took 6-1 on the 5. But I'll say something else. Is the 8 a little dead on the board right now at 2-1? She's supposed to be 6-5 in this field.
See, I would say, would you want to make anybody 6-5 in this race?
Yes, I think the 8. I think the 8's supposed to be 6-5 in this field. I mean, unless, well, I guess the argument is,
and the way she's got to win is on the lead, right?
No, she can stalk. She has a good outside stalking post in here. I think she's just very much the horse to beat. Doesn't mean I'm going to be right. I mean, I'm wrong most of the time. It doesn't matter. Even somebody who thinks he's as smart as I do, and I think I'm smarter than everybody. I know I'm wrong most of the time. I just think she's supposed to be a heavy favorite in here.
No, this game humbles everybody. But, yeah, her only win came on the lead. There's plenty of other pace in this group. We'll see how it plays out here. It's the start of the late pick 4, over $230,000 in this pool. Send it upstairs to the voice of New York racing for the call, Larry Colmus.
Just a couple left to load here. Fair Regis steps up to the starting gate. Will be followed by Persky's Spirit, who will take the outside stall. Stepping up and in. They're all in line. Bonanno a bit restless there, along with Lady Bergen. They're off. And it is Lady Bergen who comes out running, and Lady Bergen to the front, opening up to lead by 1.5 lengths of the backstretch. Fair Regis away running in second, Rainy Night third, Persky Spirit on the outside fourth. Sandshark follows in fifth, 5 from the front. And then Leah's Dream to the outside, followed by Bonanno, and then Double Main on the far outside, and Uno Dude. They make their way around the turn. Lady Bergen is the leader. On top through a 23.24 quarter, leads the way 3/4 of a length. Fair Regis second, Persky Spirit to the outside is third, while Rainy Night rides the rail, and Leah's Dream comes up there 3 wide and is putting in a bid. Behind the leaders comes Sandshark and Uno Dude, and they're into the stretch. And it is still Lady Bergen. Lady Bergen down to the final furlong with a 2-length lead here. Fair Regis is second. Then Leah's Dream to the outside is now third, but Lady Bergen has running left. Lady Bergen and Irad Ortiz Jr. pulling away. They're going to win it clear here from Fair Regis. Rainy Night ends up third, and then it was Bonanno fourth in 105.06.
Lady Bergen got to the front with Irad Ortiz Jr. Back-to-back wins for him and never looked back.
Money was smart in this horse because she's a very hard horse to like. She's got turf form going back that gives her a chance. Her one dirt race, she did absolutely no running, albeit against much better horses. But you know what? Irad put her on the lead in this race, and she was able to control. Congratulations, Connections. There have been some sharp horses put over on today's card. And I know the 8 dipped to 4 to 5 late, but the 8 tipped the hand of being too high early.
Well, you know, and Lady Bergen, first time out, it's a field where everyone's so little on their resume, where you take it to them early on, you might just break their heart, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, you know, the one time she did run in the dirt, and this is in retrospect, and I could never have bet this horse in a million years, but she was involved in the pace that collapsed. The horse Bonita Bianca won the race, won a stake race in her next start. There's that, but they went right to the turf with her, and the problem is that her turf form had dramatically, just completely fallen apart. They took a shot. They got the money. I mean, I guess the point is she was the new face to this crew. I'm just making reasons. I could never have bet her, but I'm making post-race reasons for her. I could never have had her, but congratulations. Hope you'd had her.
Well, 7-1 in here. Her only dirt start. I mean, you look back, and it's easy to handicap after the fact, but yeah, I mean, did show speed that first time out. It was the debut race.
I hear you. I hear you. I guess, you know, maybe I was stubborn in here, and that's why horse racing.
I was as well.
That's why it's a tough game, and you keep coming back for more, and you also can learn things from these. You know, you learn, did I make a mistake here? Do I want to see something in the future?
5-10-1-4. And as for Sand Shark and Leah's Dream, those two.
Leah's Dream made a move. Well, you knew right away when she didn't break sharply, the 8 was not good. She made a move and then stopped.
We'll be back with the prices. We're going to take a break in the action. From a little-known town in South Dakota to the Racing Hall of Fame, the story of the man from Mobridge, Hall of Famer Belmont. We'll have that when we come back.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record-breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Belmont Park Live, pick 4 underway with Lady Bergen. Tried the dirt in her debut, and then we hadn't seen her since on that surface. 5 consecutive tries over the turf, back to dirt, and back in the winner's circle. Irad Ortiz Jr. back-to-back wins. Teams up with Steve Asmussen and owned by Kenneth Hackle. 5-10-1-4. Now send it downstairs for more with Gabby.
Thanks, Greg. Standing by with Irad Ortiz, the winning jockey here. And Irad was kind of the plan from the get-go as soon as the gates opened to put this horse on the lead today?
Well, the assistant trainer Toby, he told me she's pretty quick out of there, so don't fight with her, and I don't think she wants to be behind horses, or let him, if she want to make the lead, let him be on the lead, and she broke like a rocket out of there, so I just take the lead and try to relax, and when I asked him, she was there for me.
Do you find sometimes with these types of races specifically, some horses are having difficulty getting through their conditions, that they just find more confidence when they're on the lead?
Yeah, that's the point. Some horses don't like it, like Russian and those kind of horses. You ask them to go and they make the lead and then they relax. And when you ask them, they have everything for you. That's the kind of horse that wants to be on the lead no matter what. She's that kind.
Absolutely. And I read you picked up this mount, of course, your brother, Jose, going down in a spill in the last race yesterday. What's the report on him and how's he doing? He's doing good. He's going to miss a couple days probably. But the good news is that he has no fractures. So we're waiting and I can wait till he's back with me in the room, and hopefully he'll be 100% soon as possible. And we miss him. He's a nice person. And just because feel good, pick up at the winner for him. Probably he got the purse anyway. Hey, you guys, battle it out against each other in the afternoon, but of course always support each other as well. Good to hear that he's doing well, and looking forward to him getting back in the saddle too. Yes, I love him. He's my brother. All right, we'll send him our best. All right, congratulations on this one. Thank you. All right, back to you, Greg. Thank you.
Gabby, thanks. Back-to-back wins for Irad Ortiz Jr. He can't wait to see his brother back. We can't as well. And that MRI, we've heard, going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, good news it'll happen tomorrow. And listen, I mean, he said he'd be out through the weekend, and maybe that'll be the case. But if the MRI comes back clean, and we certainly hope it does, we'll see him back very soon. I can imagine Jose is sitting home, watching the races, and wishing he was riding. Man who rides at parks and Presque Isle on his dark days does not want to be sitting at home.
It feels a little different with him. We can't wait to get him back, obviously. But Irad feels the absence as well.
Absolutely. I'm sure
but he'll take it.
Get a couple of wins. But he'd like to be winning races while his brother's here.
No, absolutely. All right, so back-to-back wins for Irad Ortiz Jr. Meanwhile, we're going to have a horse coming up that we're going to see back in action who we saw at Saratoga. Mobridge, trying to win 3 in a row. He was sensational last time out. Can he get the 3rd consecutive victory? We will find out. Of course, Belmont, the trainer of Mobridge, and this horse named after the town where he grew up out in South Dakota. Started training thoroughbreds at a very, very young age. He's had an incredible summer, of course, an incredible career. Won his first stakes race before he was even graduated to high school. He knew exactly what he wanted to do at a very, very young age. The rest, of course, is history.
I am Belmont. I am a trainer. My parents were always very supportive of whatever I wanted to do. They could tell how passionate I was about horses, and as we got started into it, about how passionate I was about racing. And of course I was always very competitive. I mean, I was in high school sports and that sort of thing, and I like winning and I like the competition, and I also loved horses. I'd saved up some money. I had some money in the bank. We had sold some calves and some pigs, and I had a little money saved up, and I wound up buying a horse. I went and bought my first horse for $2,000. I guess I was 15 years old at the time, and then I trained him that winter, and I was 16 when he won the South Dakota Futurity in like September of his 2-year-old year. So, I got $3,800 to the winner, and I thought I was the richest guy in South Dakota at that point in time. And from the very beginning, I've always felt very lucky. I have been very lucky. Now I'm not sure whether I like the competition more, I like the horses more. I think I actually probably like the horses as much or more than the competitive part of it. But when you can put it all together and you can have, it's kind of the best, it's been the best of both worlds for me, just because it's what I want to do. And from the very beginning, I've always felt very lucky. I have been very lucky. And, horses and the people that surround the horses have given me everything that I've ever had in life.
What an incredible career for Belmont when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. As we take a look at his top horses by earnings, youngest trainer ever inducted into the Hall. It was back in 1998 at the age of 45.
I mean, what can you say about Belmont? It seems for me, my entire life at the racetrack, Belmont has been a force in the game, and he's just a sensational trainer. He's had good horses, but boy, does he know what to do with a good horse.
And boy, did he make noise at Saratoga this summer with a late and, of course, Good Samaritan trying the dirt for the first time in the Jim Dandy.
Isn't Elate exactly the kind of horse that shows what Belmont is? A horse who showed a lot of ability early in her career, took a while to get her act together, but over time she gradually improved for him, and now she's one of the best fillies in the country.
Absolutely, and can't wait to see her back in action. We're going to take a break. More to come, of course, in Belmont and Mowbridge. Back in action coming up in a very competitive 8th race. Mowbridge will try and roar off his 3rd consecutive victory at a track that he loves. 5 for 12 in his career at Belmont. We'll be back.
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. With his much-anticipated first foals hitting the ground this year, the sky is the limit for this promising young stallion, Lee, at Claiborne Farm.
Hi, I'm John Velasquez. You're watching Belmont Park Live. I'd like to wish my families and friends best wishes. We are thinking of you. We like for you to stay strong. We are here in America, supporting you, whatever you need. Stay strong. We love you.
Welcome to Belmont Park Live. It is presented by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. We echo those sentiments of Hall of Fame jockey John Velasquez. The total losses from the storms of Harvey, Irma, and Maria estimated at close to $300 billion in the U.S. and the Caribbean. Again, you can text 90999 to the Red Cross in an immediate $10 donation to help out and help rebuild all those communities and what's happened with the earthquakes in Mexico as well. Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling, Gabby Gaudette with us as well as we get set for a few really good races coming up here. Race 8, we're going to see some interesting runners. Mowbridge back in action we'll get to here in a moment. Want to remind everybody you can play along by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. Bet 100, you'll get $100 in your account. New member bonus. Use the promo code LIVE to take advantage of this offer. You can get signed up all across the country with Naira Bets. His 8th race, Andy, mile and an 1/8 over the inner turf. New York bred allowance optional claiming group in Mowbridge, trying to make it 3 in a row, and he has been sensational at Belmont.
He's run well recently, and it's interesting about him. He's a horse that sort of had trouble getting it done, and recently has gotten it done. But I think a lot of his winning has been a function of really two factors. One is meeting weaker horses. This is a tougher field than he's been running against. He's been running in conditional state-bred claiming races. This is a tougher bunch, a more seasoned bunch, and he's also gotten extremely good trips in his races. Now, to be fair, one of the reasons he's gotten good trips is he has the tactical speed to put himself in position to get those trips. But I still think at a shortish price, off of those trips meeting better, he's a very vulnerable horse. Now, some would say I'm overly critical of horses off wins, but I also think, and that may be fair, but I also think people overestimate a horse's talents because of a win. And I just think he may be meeting too tough a field.
Well, one of those who is awfully tough he's going to have to deal with here is right next door in Iron Power. That's the 4-horse who's taken a big drop down in class for Rudy Rodriguez, second off the claim.
But they claimed him for $40,000, and they're running for $25 today. So it's not off a cliff. And as you say correctly, he ran against much better horses in a $62,500 optional claimer last time. 2 races back, he ran a race that would probably beat these horses. I mean, he finished just a neck behind Nevisian Sky, who we saw over the weekend overcome a world of trouble to bury a field here. And a field not necessarily any worse than the one this horse is running against today. Now, the problem with him is he hasn't won in a while. He has problems coming out of the gate, but this class drop is significant. So you've got No Bridge, who's moving up in class, and Iron Power, who's dropping. I just think Iron Power is a better horse.
And to your point, it seems almost every time out he has trouble getting out of the gate.
Yeah. That's the issue. I mean, watching this race, if he breaks cleanly, I think you're supposed to be awfully confident early in the race. If he doesn't, could present a problem.
Time to check in with Gabby Gaudette for our Paddock Report. It's brought to you by Shadwell Farm, building speed for the future. Gabby.
Thanks, guys. And I hear all that what you guys are saying, especially with the 4 Iron Power. This horse is getting a tremendous class relief, even going back to his race 2 starts back when he was going against the likes of New York Song and Nevisian Sky. Now, those are really good horses, and we saw the way Nevisian Sky came back to run. But the problem with Iron Power is that he just hasn't managed to win in a very long time. But maybe he'll wake up with a class relief today. I will say he looks great for the new connection, second off the claim for trainer Rudy Rodriguez. So no negatives there as we go to the 3 Hobo here. And if you caught him when he was walking into the paddock, he wears some type of equipment called a hood. And I caught up with David Donk, and he says that he always brings him over here with that type of equipment. He takes it off and puts the blinkers on in the paddock. It just gives him the ability to settle on the walkover and just kind of harness and reserve some of that energy, save it for the race itself. I think he looks good. He's just racy. He's fit. He's a horse that continues to progress, and maybe he has progressed with the addition of blinkers in his last 2 starts. We'll see if he can take that step forward today. The 5 Mo Bridge, I agree with you guys, especially Andy, in saying that it's going to be the class test today because this isn't your average race. We have a lot of class droppers in here. He's been pretty fortunate in the last 2 races to get the victory, but maybe he's a horse that's kind of turned the corner. He's dappled from head to toe. He looks good for Belmont, so he surely isn't impossible, although, guys, I do prefer others.
Yeah, we'll see deeper waters today. Thank you, Gabby, for that report. Mo Bridge, there he is at 3-1, named after the town. His trainer hails from the Hall of Famer Belmont. And, of course, his good friend, owned by Lee Einsiedler. So those
who told him where our office was?
Got a little visit
I
from
never
Lee
told
today.
him.
It's good to see him and visit.
It was? Maybe
Of
for
course
you.
it was.
How can you come up not bearing gifts?
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, just bring it up
next time.
Let's hope so. How about Hobo?
Well, I like this horse a lot 2 starts back, and then just near miss last out. But since putting the blinkers on, what do you think?
I guess you could give 2 opinions. One is it was a fast pace last time. Converge should have won. Got a very good trip, a very good ride by Manny Franco, and sort of last time was the time. It was 12-1. He almost won the race. That's the negative. And today he's a much shorter price. The positive is, hey, this may be a little bit of an easier field, especially if the 4 doesn't win. And maybe he's a lightly raced horse that's just coming into his own for a very good trainer, Dave Donk. And he's got another step forward, and that could make him good. So I could see him winning. I wouldn't pick him and bet him, but I could see him winning this race.
Yeah, that's, one of the positives, he's only recently shifted to the grass. This is his 5th start now on turf, and he's never been off the board since he made that switch.
And he's against a lifetime bunch of horses that just have made a lifetime of races. So everybody, there may be 3 better horses in here. He may run 4th. But none of the others rate to improve. He could take a big step forward.
And he's a 3-year-old.
Right. So I can, there are reasons. The question becomes betting horses on the come, knowing they have to take a step forward to win. I wouldn't do it at 2-1.
Yeah, having said that, he should not be 2-1.
You should be getting 4-1 on him at least.
Well, here's Birchwood Road. He is a 7-year-old, and as you talked about with Hobo now, stark contrast. 38th start on the grass for this horse.
And speaking of horses, as Gabby mentioned with the 4, and correctly mentioned, they haven't won in a long time, September 16th of 2015. And he's a horse that has used his speed as an advantage. That was a honest pace last time, and I think Javier will have him forwardly placed, not in front, but forwardly placed, and that could work in his favor. It's been a long time for him to get the winner's circle as Lee is not bearing gifts with Gabby, bothering Gabby in the paddock. I mean, really, she's working.
Always good to hear from Lee Einside. We've had him on the show quite a bit. We had him after, in fact, that last victory at Saratoga with Mo Bridge.
We can't get rid of him. It's like a bad habit.
But he's very good, long-time friends with trainer Belmont. So for this horse to win, named after the town that Belmont is from, had to be special.
Lee, I make fun of Lee, but Lee's a terrific guy and a good friend of mine as well, and an asset to the game also, and has a good sense of humor, which is why we like to make fun of him. But he's stalking Gabby. I mean, it's clear. She's trying to get away from him. You can see.
And we'll see can you read the walk? Does he feel confident with Mo Bridge today?
Lee is nothing if not confident. He may not be right, but he's confident.
All right, there's Sam the Bugler. Call to post coming up. Can Mo Bridge make it 3 straight? Here's the one, Snake Oil Charlie. Rider change, Pablo Fregoso aboard.
Oh, the rider change is not going to hurt this horse. What may hurt is his recent form has not been that good. But somewhere he's got races to give him a shot to get a tiny piece.
701 next door on Birchwood Road, coming out of that Hobo race, who will be right next door to him.
Listen, he's good enough to get a piece in here. He's got a nice inside post, and he's got the speed to be forwardly placed. He just doesn't win very often.
And the improving 3-year-old Hobo for David Donk. John Velasquez aboard.
The one of the contenders that really has that room to take that step forward is a 3-year-old, but he's an awfully short price at 2-1 right now.
The class dropper, Iron Power. Luis Saez rides for Rudy Rodriguez.
He is the horse to beat dropping down, and he has the back races that are better than these, but a horse who causes enough problems getting left race after race.
And here is Lee Einseidler's Mo Bridge for Belmont with Jose Lizcano.
Been getting very good trips against lesser. He's going to have to improve to beat this field.
5 for 12 on the turf at Belmont as well. Here's Spin Cycle, the 6-horse for John Kimmel with Irad Ortiz Jr.
Has been in difficult pace scenarios in his last 2 and may find himself in a much better pace scenario today, a live price.
Irad, of course, looking for 3 wins in a row. Here's the 8. You like that, Kendrick Carmouche for Bruce Brown.
A very heady ride by Kendrick last time to wire cheaper. This would be a big step up.
Graceful Gal, 26-1 long shot, trained by Leo O'Brien. Junior Alvarado in the irons.
The 6-year-old mare tries the boys. At one time, she would have been competitive, but not off her recent races.
And I understand Prophet's Cat is over 28 on the turf, but I think this horse actually has a bit of a shot here. Dylan Davis for Gary Siaka.
Not knocking a long shot, but has to overcome an outside post, and 0 for 28 on the turf.
All right, that's your field here for race 8. How are you going to play it?
I'm betting the 6 to win. I'll keep it simple. I think this horse has been somewhat compromised recently. Last time out, you see how wicked the pace was, 22-1, 45-4. Everybody was going late 2 times ago, coming off a layoff. Didn't run that badly in a tougher spot. I think he's in a chance where he could be forwardly placed and perhaps win this race at a fair enough price. Take it a small shot.
You got the hot jock aboard. There'll be 3 in a row for Irad Ortiz Jr. if he can make it happen, but he'll have to beat that horse right there, Mo Bridge. And the silks of Lee Einseidler there. The hot pink look has been to the winner's circle in back-to-back tries. Going for 3 in a row when we come back.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase, he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe, running a 105 buyer and winning by open lengths. Mastery, new for 2018 at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching Belmont Park Live on MSG Plus and Fox Sports Prime Ticket. Good to have you with us on this Thursday afternoon. Special day today here at the racetrack. 53-year employee of NYRA, Sonny Taylor, the longest-serving racing official of the New York Racing Association. Happy birthday, happy 80th. The only active official to have been here for 4 Triple Crowns, the official clocker at Belmont during the reign of the 3 Triple Crown winners back in the 1970s. So happy 80th to Sonny Taylor as we get set here for this 8th race coming up here. Just a minute to post, and Gabby, can Mobridge make it 3 in a row?
Well, our friend Lee, who I was conversing with in the paddock, definitely thinks so. No, he was realistic about this horse's chances. He said, you know, they're hoping to just sit off the speed of the 6 today, and the question is, can he handle the distance? So that's a legitimate question. It's also going to be a class test as well, but he did put in a good warm-up while we were in break. Now, the 6 spin cycle, this horse has pretty much stayed with the pony throughout and just kind of harnessing that early energy. He's fast, and he will be your pace setter if all goes well out of the gate. But guys, I keep on circling back to the 3 Hobo in here. So with kind of the dynamics of the race, how horses are kind of tailing out of form and just haven't managed to win in quite some time, I think Hobo's the up and comer, so have to land on him.
All right, Gabby, thanks. So, Gabby going with the youngster, the 3-year-old, and this is the time of year that they really show improvement.
He's the kind of horse that you would use in your multi-race bets, but I just think is a horrendous gamble at 2-1. But I have no argument that he is a big-time player. I just don't think 2-1's any value.
No, we agree. That horse that walked in, the gray, that is the one to beat. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call, Larry Colmus.
Here's Prophet's Cat moving into the starting gate, completing the line here. They're all in line, ready for a start. They're off. Snake Oil Charlie, Birchwood Road, Hobo with early speed. Outside of them, there goes Spin Cycle to be a part of the pace, and farther out comes You Like That. So they make their way into that first turn, and Spin Cycle will emerge up top. You Like That on the outside into second. Birchwood Road is third. Mobridge takes fourth. Then it's Hobo to the inside, followed by Iron Power, 3 wide Graceful Gal, and in behind them, Prophet's Cat. Snake Oil Charlie is now at the back of the field. So onto the backstretch they go. 25.39 was an easy opening quarter mile for Spin Cycle and Erod Ortiz, who lead the way up the backstretch by a length. You Like That on the outside, the closest pursuer. Birchwood Road a length and a half behind them. Mobridge races to the outside. Hobo is right behind them with Iron Power perched out there in 6th. 4.5 lengths off the lead. Then it's Prophet's Cat, Graceful Gal, and Snake Oil Charlie through a 50.39 half mile. Spin Cycle leads them along as they continue up the backstretch. Spin Cycle 3/4 of a length. You Like That on the outside follows in second. Then it's Birchwood Road third toward the inside. And now moving on the outside is Mobridge. And Mobridge takes third and is just outside the top 2. Iron Power is next on the outside. Then comes Hobo, followed by Prophet's Cat, Graceful Gal, 6 off the lead. Snake Oil Charlie trails. Spin Cycle has run 3/4 in 1:14.24 and turns for home with the lead here. You Like That. And on the outside, Mobridge and Iron Power, and now these 2 are coming. Here comes Iron Power on the outside, trying to run down Spin Cycle. Hobo is coming on too. Mobridge is not doing enough. And then comes Graceful Gal on the far outside, but it's Hobo. Hobo and John Velasquez take the lead, and they're pulling away late. Hobo to win. Spin Cycle holds second, then a photo between Iron Power and Graceful Gal in 1:48.85.
The up-and-coming 3-year-old for David Donk. Hobo collects his 2nd win on the turf in 5 tries.
Yeah, he's just an improving horse. He got a very, very good ride in this race and an absolutely perfect trip. But, you know, this is just an improving horse. John Velasquez did all the things right for trainer David Donk, who's improved him. But Hobo's the now horse. Great ride by Erod Ortiz, putting my horse Spin Cycle in front in a slow pace. Absolutely no excuse. Got exactly what I wanted. Iron Power just hung. How about Graceful Gal? Almost getting second at 66-1. Or, I'm sorry, 57-1. The 9 Graceful Gal coming with a run. She's back in form, but a much the best winner and a good pick by Gabby.
Yeah, well done here by Hobo and for David Donk to get this son of Macho Uno ready to roll here. The surface switch has been all the difference for this horse.
Yeah, I mean, as we talked about beforehand, I didn't think it was a great price at 5-2, though the way he ran, 5-2 was an overlay.
Yeah.
But, it's a lesson, and we learn, horses who can improve. Well, this was the only one, this race that could improve. The rest of them were sort of made deals. And the other thing was, I think you and I were a little overly seduced by the 4. Probably the move was, the 4 can win this race, but he's had his chances. I like my idea with the 6. I got what I wanted. He just wasn't good enough. This is the horse moving up, and I guess this horse and the 4 at the same price. He has the move forward. 4 is just not sealing the deal. Onwards and upwards for Hobo.
And horse who was protected as well.
Well, because he fit the condition.
Right.
The other horses couldn't run in this race because they've already won this condition.
5-2, Hobo with the win. And he's never been off the board now. 5 tries on the turf, 2 wins, 2 seconds and a third. 3-6, 4-9 finish. He winds up going off as the second choice here at 5-2.
The key here, if you keyed Graceful Gal for 4th in your super, you got all the money.
That was yeah. Pretty logical first 3, right?
That's exactly where I was. Just key to 9 for 4th.
Little boys to men here for you. West Coast Philly. A little East Coast swing. West Coast taking all the money as he keeps coming back to the East Coast. Can he do it again? We'll talk about the Penn Derby when we come back.
They're off.
Los Alamitos Racecourse congratulates all of the connections of Los Alamitos Derby winner West Coast for his sensational victory in the Grade 1 Travers Stakes at Saratoga. Since our first meet in 2014, many of the top stars in thoroughbred racing have raced at Los Alamitos. Who will be next? Join us for the Los Alamitos Fall Thoroughbred Meet. Opening day is Thursday, September 7th.
Back on Belmont Park Live, it's picture time once again for Hobo, 3-year-old son of Macho Uno, trained by David Donk, and Hall of Famer John Velasquez aboard for the win.
Just a great combination, John Velasquez and David Donk. They've won. You think of John Velasquez and Todd Pletcher. He's won some big races for Dave Donk as well, and it's nice to see. I think it's really the mark of the good trainer, a guy like David Donk who doesn't get the credit he deserves. But you take a horse and you watch them gradually improve, and that's what the good trainers do.
Well, we saw David Donk heat up late in the Belmont Spring Meet, continued through Saratoga. This was one of those horses who was big for him at Saratoga.
He likes to say that he's a weekday trainer. That's nonsense. Dave Donk has won his share of big races on weekends. He just needs to have the right horses like anybody.
Now he's got a good one here in Hobo. He's standing by with Gabby.
Of course, guys, David Donk had an amazing Saratoga meet, and that has shifted here to Belmont. David, talk a little bit about Hobo here, an impressive win. Was it the change of equipment in the past 2 starts, or do you think this is a horse that's just finally finding its stride?
Yeah, I think it's maturity, but obviously the blinkers didn't hurt any. I think it's let him be a little more professional. Today was another step forward. It was a nice race.
And with a horse like this who just got through the other than condition and being a New York bred, there are plenty of options for him in terms of maybe the future.
Yeah, I said to Johnny, I think he has a future. So there's some more conditions out there first, and he's only a 3-year-old. But it was fun to see. He really quickened up the last part. I was really impressed with the final 8.
And have you seen him kind of mature? I know you see him in the afternoons, but even in the mornings, kind of keep taking those steps forward in terms of his behavior?
Yeah, I guess. You know, you see him every day. So it's not like that somebody sees him once in a while. I mean, he's a really easy horse to be around. You know, he's still a colt, sometimes a little studdish, but, you know, he's done really well. Obviously, he likes the grass.
He definitely does that. A good move there to the turf. And, well, Andy, David was giving me tips. I know I owe you a salad because I went wrong on a bet, so I'm going to have to maybe continue that discussion so I can give you a good salad. Congrats, David.
Thanks.
What's this all about?
Well, Gabby and I made a salad bet. I'm trying to stay healthier and eat salads here.
Good for
Unlike you, where you're in the. It's embarrassing to look at what you eat. I'm joking. Actually, he does eat healthily.
I have to eat well.
Yeah, that's true. No, you're actually healthy. I like a little candy now and then, but been eating salads. And we made. I later 2 salads to 1 and 1.
Okay. I like to see that you're being healthy. David Donk having a healthy meet early on here. Oh, but this is a nice horse. It sounds like, and he's, mentioned it. He's got some more conditions to work through, so he can have a nice little run with this horse.
Well, you've got the non-winners of 2 for the New York Breds, and he will be the first to say the jump from the non-winners of 1 New York Breds to non-winners of 2 is a big jump. That's a very tough jump. It's tough to get through this condition. You get through this condition, it gets tougher. But then the good thing about New York Breds is they can run in non-winners of 1 and non-winners of 2 races against open company if they get through there before potentially moving to stakes. David's had a lot of New York Breds. He knows what to do moving through conditions.
We're going to talk about the big picture with 3-year-olds here coming up, and a horse who's kind of taking over the reins of that division. He is by Flatter, of course, who stands at Claiborne Farm. Has produced Paola Queen, who was, I believe, 55-1 upset winner of the test a year ago at Saratoga. Taurus, upstart, Kobe's back. The son of AP Indy has also produced West Coast, now standing at Claiborne Farm. Flatter, part of that stallion roster lineup for Claiborne. And speaking of West Coast, he has reeled off 4 consecutive victories, including most recently his Travers win, where Mike Smith decided, hey, let's go to the front.
Yeah, he doesn't need to have the lead to win, though. He's been effective coming from behind in the past. But the one thing that worries me a little bit here is he did ride the rail, and the rail was the best place to be. I don't think it was a souped-up inside track, but I think it was an advantage. And also, the 2 horses ran behind him, one of them being IRAP and Meets had much wider trips. So I think they had some reasons to lose, and he had everything his own way. I'm not knocking this horse. Let's see, Greg, can a 3-year-old in the dirt this year put together 2 good races back-to-back? That's been the real mark of this year's 3-year-old crop, at least on the dirt.
You wouldn't give his easy-go performance? What would you rate?
No, that was very good, and so was his Los Al Derby, but the Travers was the big one.
Right.
I'm saying, Always Dreaming wins the Derby, and then boom, Cloud Computing wins the Preakness, and he hasn't run well since. Taprit ran well in the Belmont. He didn't run well in the Travers, and now he's out. So we need to see a horse solidify his position, and West Coast is the one who can do that.
And also be back-to-back Grade 1s if he can do it again. This is the field he will be facing. It's certainly going to be a big test, and IRAP is going to get another crack at him.
I thought IRAP ran extremely well in the Travers last time. He was 4 wide around the racetrack while the winner, West Coast, was hugging the rail. So even if you think it's an even racetrack, and this is him beating the Practical Joke, one of the top 3-year-olds in the country in the Bluegrass, even if you think, the track was fair, he still gave up a lot of ground. We'll have to go to Trackus, but I'm sure he ran a lot more feet than West Coast. Now he's at Parks, be a much fairer racetrack. And IRAP, I think, showed the Travers that his improvement in the Ohio Derby and the Indiana Derby was legitimate. He's a player.
How much better do those performances look? Now, we know Practical Joke is more of a miler, a one-turn horse, but still, he's been the most consistent 3-year-old of this entire crop. And then Gervin, after what he did in the Haskell, those 2 wins look pretty good, don't they?
No, I agree. This is a horse that at a big price broke his maiden in the Grade 2 Bluegrass, but he showed it wasn't a fluke. Okay, the Derby, but, most horses run poorly in the Derby. What you got to like is that he improved off of that race, and you got to say something. Doug O'Neill's got this horse and Pavel, who I believe is coming into the Jockey Club Gold Cup. He's got a pretty strong hand with 3-year-olds. Doug O'Neill knows what to do with a good
Who
horse.
ran, Pablo, by the way, a very good second start of his career in the Jim Dandy.
Ran terrific in the Jim Dandy, and
Yeah.
he had an easy win with a triple-digit buyer in the Smarty Jones in his third start, tackling the big boys in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. He could be that good.
Well, always dreaming the Kentucky Derby winner, still top of the list by virtue of that win. But Gervin, IRAP right there, and West Coast steadily climbing that list. And, of course, there's been a horse who's puzzled us a bit. One of his biggest moments, of course, came in New York, Gabby, and he'll be in that race as well, Irish War Cry.
Yeah, Irish War Cry kind of epitomizes the 3-year-old division this year. Just looking at his previous races, he's constantly in and out of form, and it's really hard to get a good grasp of him. Of course, his Wood Memorial was incredibly impressive, but he just can't kind of go back-to-back with impressive performances. But the thing about Irish War Cry, too, of course, you see the rider switch going back to the jockey Fergal Lynch. Rajiv Mirage has been on him since pretty much April, and I talked to Graham Motion, and he said, we didn't take Rajiv off the horse necessarily. Fergal did start his career, and Fergal wasn't able to go down to Florida to ride him in the Holy Bull. So they're just kind of circling back to Fergal and just thinking that maybe a switch will wake this horse up a little bit. On top of that, he comes in with a recent workout at Fair Hill, and Graham Motion also stating that he worked in that breeze alone, and that was the first time that he's really done it. He usually breezes in company. So kind of alluding to the fact that he might be maturing and keep on moving forward here. But guys, I guess you have to just question whether or not which Irish War Cry is going to show up this weekend.
Oh, that's a good point, and that is the big question. What are your thoughts?
You know, I think he's going to run well in here. I'll be honest with you, he really interests me in here because I think that the Haskell was a race that just fell apart. And the track at Monmouth had sort of changed around from being speed-friendly to closer-friendly that weekend. I don't think he ran that badly in the Haskell. I'm interested to see what both he and Timeline do bouncing back from that race. I have more confidence in him because he's run the big races before. I will not be shocked when Irish War Cry runs a big race here.
Yeah, for Timeline, that was his first defeat. He was 4 for 4 going into that Haskell Invitational when he ran 5th, beat more than 8 lengths. Coming up next, can Ostralenka give David Jacobson a 3rd win on the afternoon? We're about to find out. He's 4 for 8 at Belmont. Horse for course. We'll return.
Undefeated in sprint competition, Eclipse champion Run Happy captured 3 Grade 1 victories and set blistering speed records at both Keeneland and Saratoga. In the Breeders' Cup Sprint, he dominated the world's fastest runners, going 6 furlongs in a record-breaking 108 and change. The only horse nominated for 3 Eclipse Awards, Run Happy was crowned champion male sprinter, all the while racing 100% drug-free. Champion, millionaire, record breaker, Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching Belmont Park Live on MSG Plus and Fox Sports Prime Ticket. Riders heading to the paddock. Our post-parade coming up in just a little bit in our Paddock Report with Gabby Gaudet. I want to remind everybody after the races at Belmont, keep playing at home with Naira Bets with some great bonuses on California racing at Los Alamitos. First, if you hit the early pick 4 starting in race 2, a 10% winner's bonus. Then for a 500-point all split, just place a $10 base exacta bet on race 5 and win or lose. You'll split 500,000 points. So get your evening started with Los Alamitos bonuses and bet nationwide with Naira Bets at NairaBets.com. This is an interesting race coming up here. This ninth is going to be fun. 6 furlongs, $100,000 allowance optional claiming group here in Ostralinka. We saw a couple of times at Saratoga, including in the John Morrissey, where that horse just cannot break through in that race. Missed by a neck. Is the 4-5 favorite. Loves it at Belmont.
But he ran very well in the Morrissey on a muddy racetrack, but he made a move inside, which wasn't the best place to be in the slop that day. He made the first move into a pace that collapsed. He really ran the best race that day. The thing that worries me, he's got the 4 wins and 8 starts at Belmont. What he doesn't have is a win recently, and that kind of concerns me. His win recently was at Monmouth, but his recent form is very good.
Well, time for our Paddock Report brought to you by Shadwell Farm, building speed for the future. Let's go to Gabby Gaudet.
And I'll tell you what, guys, this is a field of very good-looking veterans, and one of them is your current heavy favorite, the 4 Ostralenka. This is a horse who loves coming back to Belmont. I hear what Andy's saying, that he hasn't really won, at least won here in quite some time, but he looks great, and not to mention David Jacobson has had a pretty good day thus far, so I think he's got a legitimate chance. But the horse who I find to be very intriguing is the 6 Angry Moon. This will be this horse's 3rd start off the layoff for trainer Chris Engelhart. And to me, I just don't think he got much out of that race in his first race off of the layoff back in August at Saratoga. He was coming in off of a November layoff, and sometimes we just don't see turf sprints put a good bottom into a horse. But I definitely think he got that last time out, and Andy was alluding to the race that Ostralenka was coming out of. He was part of that pace that absolutely collapsed. So maybe 3rd start off the layoff, he's primed and ready to go, and I like what I see here in the paddock.
All right, so Gabby likes what she sees with Angry Moon. Horse's only try at Belmont was a win. What do you think?
I don't like Angry Moon. I respect Gabby's opinion. She's having a great day handicapping. I just don't like this horse. I think this is a horse that's only really been effective being on the lead. Has to deal with the 1A Jabberjaw, who figures to be faster early. We're going back, to Aqueduct to find a win for Angry Moon. I guess this is... Actually, I don't know what we're watching here. It's Cigar Mile, which Angry Moon was not in.
We're going to talk about Divining Rod later in the show with the Kelso coming up this weekend.
I would like Divining Rod in this race.
No, a lot of people
Can
will.
I get him in there?
To your point, he needs to do it on the lead, Angry Moon, and there is that speed of Hey Jabberjaw down on the inside. It was a better post position.
Yeah, I see him in a position where he's forcing Hey Jabberjaw, and you're saying he's going to force. You have to assume, if I knew Hey Jabberjaw wasn't going to break and he's going to clear the lead, I say, okay, fine, bet him. But assuming that Hey Jabberjaw gets out of the gate, he's going. He's got one way to go, and that's going. This horse is going to stalk him, press him, put him away, and then hold off either or both Ostralenka and Canada Desire.
That's a tall order.
Not with my money.
Very tall order. Post parade coming up. Since that win, by the way, for Angry Moon at Belmont, 8th beat 25. Dead last, 5th in a 5-horse field, and then 7th in a field of 8 against Ostralenka and Candid Desire. Here's Hey Jabberjaw, speed inside. 6-time winner for John Toscano Jr.
Going to try to wire this field, was helped by a speed-friendly racetrack last time out.
Candid Desire at 7-2. Jose Lizcano rides for Gary Siaka, coming off a 3rd-place finish.
The other closer along with Ostralenka, I think he is a threat at a decent price.
And here is the 4-5 favorite for David Jacobson, looking for his 3rd win on today's card. He's 4 for 8 at Belmont.
Not big on endorsing 4-5s, but he is very much the horse to beat. He should get pace to run into, and he's in raging form.
Alex the Terror, we will see next here. Son of Mine Shaft for Gary Siaka, and Eric Consell rides.
It's hard to make a case for a horse that needs to be forwardly placed to be most effective winning against a tougher field than he's been facing.
And rounding out this group, Angry Moon, Chris Engelhart trainee with Kendrick Carmouche.
He's going to have to deal with at least the speed of the one and perhaps even the speed of Alex the Terror, put them away and hold off the closers. Can he re-find his good form from last year?
I'm interested to see how you play this race. Is 4 to 5 too low for you? Where are you going to go?
You know me. I'm not running a 4 to 5 shots. I'm going to bet the 2 in here. I like Canada Desire. He's the other closer. And I'm not going to tell you that his last race is better than Ostrolenka's. He finished 2 lengths behind him, and he ran 2 lengths worse than him. But you know what? He's a much better price. He's going to get pace to run into, and I think today could be the day that he reverses things. He's good enough in his best race to do it.
Let me ask you this. Is it Ostrolenka loves 6.5 furlongs. This is only 6 furlongs today.
Maybe that'll help. This horse, Canada Desire's got 4 wins in 3 seconds at 6 furlongs. We'll see if that helps.
Yeah, Ostrolenka just 1 for 10 at the 6 furlong distance. Jabberjaw, meanwhile, he's quick. He's drawn inside. And we'll see if he can get the job done this afternoon. Of course, he's going to have to duel that outside runner as well, an Angry Moon. We'll be back with race 9 for Belmont right after this.
Chadwell Farm, home to world-class stallions, offers 2 successful stakes sires. Brilliant Miler, Daher, a consistent source of quality. Daher is the sire of black-type winners coast to coast. Grade 1 winner and millionaire, Albertus Maximus, winner of the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile and Don Handicap. He is now siring black-type horses across the U.S. and abroad. Chadwell Farm, building speed for the future.
Back on Belmont Park Live, Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, Gabby Gaudet. We're getting set for race 9 coming up. Can Ostrolenka make it 5 wins and 9 tries at Belmont? We're going to find out shortly here. You can play along if you get signed up with Naira Bets. Bet 100 and you'll get $100 in your account. If you use the promo code LIVE, you can play with Naira Bets all across the country. Bet over 200 tracks nationwide, including this 9th race we have coming up.
Well, I'm playing through Naira Bets, and I just played a bunch of bets through Naira Bets.
Well, we know you played Candid Desire, the 2 in here. Yeah. Why not take a shot with Hey Jabberjaw, the speed inside?
You know, I get it. I'm not saying this horse can't win, but once again, isn't he going to have to deal with at least the 6 at some point and the 5? And the other problem I have with Hey Jabberjaw, and listen, I'm not going to knock anybody. You want to bet him, he's 6 to 1, you should bet him. But that last race was very speed-friendly. Look at Chero, the horse who finished 2nd earlier today at a big price. He was compromised by the racetrack last time. He came back and he ran well towards the front end. This is a tougher race. I don't love him in here, the one, Hey Jabberjaw.
Last couple of starts for him, they were on muddy surfaces. So the last time he was on a fast track, that was a good group. Kadiron, 3-5 India were in that race.
Yep. And he got drowned. But
no,
it was
he
a
did.
tough race.
Meanwhile, speeding through your screen, this horse right here. Here's Candid Desire, and this is the one Andy's going to put his money on in this race coming up. Finished behind Ostrolenka last time out, but we shall see. 3rd off a short layoff today, one of a couple in here for Gary Siaka.
One thing I like about him, on dry tracks, he always shows up and at least runs reasonably well. He's a consistent type. He just needs to get a little bit of a break. And it's going to be, I'm not saying he's supposed to beat Ostrolenka. He's going to have to get a little lucky to beat Ostrolenka, but I think he can.
Well, he's had a couple of chances against him. This one, and of course, over the inner dirt back in March when he was a length behind him as well. So he's had a couple of tries now.
I think what helps Ostrolenka is he's a little more handy. He makes that first run to the speeds, and it makes it hard to catch him. I'm kind of hoping the pace is hot enough where maybe it comes apart a little bit late, and that works in his favor, and maybe a little bit against the favorite.
There he is, Jose Lezcano aboard, 7 to 2. from an 8-1 morning line. A lot of these numbers here lower because of the scratch of the 3 great stuff in here. With more on this field, let's go to Gabby.
Thanks, Greg. And I think Andy might be on to something a little bit with the 2 Candid Desire. Once they kind of went through the post parade, the rider Jose Lezcano just left the pony and gave this horse a good warm up, has really been warming up ever since. And I really like to see that, especially in a closer, because it gets their legs moving, gets the blood flowing, just gets them into the game a little bit sooner. And I like everything that I've seen trackside by this horse. And I think Andy brings up some good points, especially in his last race, 2 starts back. There was no beating the likes of Stall Walking Dude. And the start before that, well, he doesn't do his best running on a muddy track. So maybe he is a little bit dirtied up and has a chance if that pace scenario does ensue. Now, the 4 Ostrolenka, he's definitely the closer that you want. And in the paddock and transitioning to the trackside today, this horse is breathing fire. He just looks fantastic. So as much as I don't like to promote a 4 to 5 favorite, I really think he's the horse to beat, guys.
It's just very consistent as well. 5-year-old who loves Belmont Park as well. Definitely the one to beat. I'd say the one kryptonite for him is the 6 furlongs.
Well, that's a fair question. He's got the 1 win. But I'm going to say in his current form against this field, this setup, this is probably one of the juicier spots he's been in. You can take it apart any way you want. And I don't mind betting the 2 at 7-2 in this field. But I'm not going to argue with people that Ostrolenka is supposed to be in the even money range. He's way the worst to beat. He just makes way too much sense. The other thing is, he doesn't need to be flying up front. He doesn't need the race to fall into his lap. My horse needs the race to fall into his lap a little bit.
As we look at Alex the Terror, the other Siaka runner in here, second off the claim.
He seems a little bit over his head. I mean, you just look at him, and it's almost like he's in the race. Gary Siaka has him flying P stable, but he's got the 2 Candid Desire to go in here as well, and it's just his best races are on the front end. Well, he's hard for him to get the lead in this race unless both the 1 and 6 forget to show up, and then he's got to run faster to get it done. Listen, he's a long shot for a reason.
There's Ostrolenka. Can he make it career win number 7? He's been better than anywhere else right here at Big Sandy, trying to collect a 5th win here on this surface. Joe Bravo back aboard. He was aboard for that win at Monmouth and the near miss in the Morrissey at Saratoga as well. He's going to be flying late. 4 to 5 on the board. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown for the load here for race 9 at Belmont, Larry Colmus.
And the last 3 runners are set to come forward, including the favorite Ostrolenka, who will be the next one to load at 3 to 5 odds under Joe Bravo. They move into the starting gate. Here's Alex the Terror, and Angry Moon will complete the field. Angry Moon and Kendra Carmouche come up to the outside stall and go in. They're all in line. They're off. Hey, Jabberjaw right out to the early lead. With Angry Moon away running in second, Hey Jabberjaw gets away to lead by almost 2. Angry Moon is second. Ostrolenka settles into stride third on the inside of Alex the Terror, while Candid Desire will trail the field early, racing for the turn. Hey Jabberjaw on top, and now Angry Moon is sent up to challenge as they complete a quarter in 22.78 seconds. And then it's Ostrolenka, who's hard held at this stage, running along in third, 3 lengths off the lead. After that comes Alex the Terror. Candid Desire is last with 6 lengths to make up. It is Hey Jabberjaw and Angry Moon who keeps getting closer on the outside. The 2 of them will arrive at the top of the stretch together. Ostrolenka's going to come outside of them. 45.55 for the half. They're into the stretch. Angry Moon alongside of Hey Jabberjaw. Ostrolenka trying to come and get them on the far outside. Then Candid Desire fourth. Still Hey Jabberjaw, Angry Moon, Ostrolenka, any of the 3. Hey Jabberjaw, Angry Moon, Ostrolenka on the far outside. They're all coming down to the wire, and Hey Jabberjaw's holding on to win over Ostrolenka. Angry Moon is third, Alex the Terror fourth in 109.55.
Hey, Jabberjaw, Mike Luzzy got the front all to themselves and took advantage at 7-1.
Yeah, let's give credit to Hey Jabberjaw, who got the job done and got back to really maybe arguably better than the races he ran in the past. And the Toscanos who do a very good job, really have done a good job with the horse they claimed for $80,000. A big investment, but it paid off here. I will say, the 6 tried to keep up with him early. It wasn't like Kendrick Carmouche didn't ask him, but 22.78 for a sprinter this caliber is a very moderate pace, and it enabled him to control. But I got to tell you something, Ostrolenka hung.
No question.
He's supposed to have won this race. We watched it. It looked like he had a measure, didn't it, Greg? And he just didn't seal the deal. But let's give the credit to Age Aberjaw and Mike Luzzy, the rank outsider, and they win it.
No, and when you're able to get the lead for the most of the race to yourself. I mean, where was the other speed in this race, pressuring Mike Luzzy up front?
No, he went away. I don't know what Alex Sotero was doing in here, if not going to be aggressive, though. His rider's rarely aggressive in here, but I don't know. It's hard. But at the end of the day, what's the difference with Canada Desire? My pick was dreadful. I mean, I don't think you want to have closers trying to make their run through the inside, but so what? He didn't do any running.
Another price here as Hey Jabberjaw returns to the winner's circle for the first time since Aqueduct in April. And his first win at Belmont here in 4 career tries. John Toscano Jr., Luzzy, Brand Jam Stable team up for the win with a 5-year-old son of Mine Shaft here. And that is a nice victory, beating a good one here in Ostrolenka. We're going to take a break in the action. We'll be back with more, including prices here from the 9th, right after this on Belmont Park Live.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb has emerged as one of the nation's most promising young stallions. The leading freshman sales sire of weanlings, yearlings, and 2-year-olds, his first runners are off to a fast start. His debut winners have dazzled on the track, scoring on both dirt and turf. In the sales rep, his yearlings continue to command top prices, including the $1 million co-sale topper at Saratoga. Outstanding value, outstanding results, or standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on Belmont Park Live, Mike Luzzy got to the front, kept on rolling here. 7-1 on Hey Jabberjaw to take race 9.
Yeah, let's give Mike Luzzy some credit. I'll tell you one thing he knows how to do. He knows what to do with a speed horse. And he did the right thing with Hey Jabberjaw, and he got rewarded for it. $63,000 carryover in the pick 6 tomorrow. Are you excited?
I am.
You're ready to take a swing. I can tell. I can see it in your face.
Yes, I'm having so much success with pick 3s.
It's okay. All you need to do is turn it around. So that's just 2 pick 3s in a row, right?
Well, Hey Jabberjaw has turned it around. Let's send it downstairs to Gabby for more.
All right, here with the Mike Luzzy, and pleased to be joined by you in the winner's circle. Mike, you pretty much had a plan as soon as the gates opened. You've ridden this horse before the claim, after the claim. Is that the key to success, is just going to the lead?
At first it was with Mr. Englehart. And with the Toscanos, he's changed a little bit. He rated a little bit, not back, but off a horse. But today we're in one hole. The other speed horse was outside. I said, let's go.
And he clearly showed a lot of tenacity coming down the stretch and kind of holding back those challengers as well.
That is kind of his old self. He was a fighter then. He still is. He just got to get to the lead. Comfortable and easy around a turn. I felt like a winner.
And talking about a fighter, you're that. You've been in this game for a long time and traveling pretty much all over the place throughout the summer. How good does it feel to get the win here at Belmont?
It feels good because I live about a mile away, so I didn't have to travel too far. But it's always good to win. This is home. You know, New York's my home. It's been my home. I'll keep fighting.
All right, Michael, congratulations today.
Thanks, Gab.
All right, back to you, Greg.
Gabby, thank you. Mike Luzzi. Well done here. Taking advantage of that cozy inside post with a speed horse and going gate to wire for the win here at 7-1. So, hey, Jabberjaw, 7th career victory here. Wins for John Toscano Jr. Again, Brand Jam Stable. Little souvenir there for a fan. Coming up, of course, on Saturday is the Kelso. And we're going to talk about the Kelso. Grade 2, $300,000 purse when we come back from a short timeout. More Belmont Park Live on the way in a moment.
Make NyraBets your home for online horse racing and betting. Start earning your sign-up bonus right now. With NyraBets, you can use our state-of-the-art website to bet on live horse racing at over 200 tracks around the world. Bet anywhere, anytime, using your computer or mobile device. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Build your bankroll with our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now at NyraBets.com and start earning your sign-up bonus now. NyraBets, racing's best play.
Does she want it?
Back on Belmont Park Live, we have just a few minutes left in our show, but there is another race to come here at Belmont Park, and you can watch it with the Nyra Now app. Let's set the stage for it, though. 7 furlongs on the turf and a $40,000 maiden claiming event for New York breds. This is a little stranger. Danny's Rush, who was 10-1 morning line, who's 0 for 8, 5-2.
I don't like this horse, but he does have a race 3 back that gives him a chance to win. He has no other races recently. His last 2 races, I mean, they've been bad, but he was wide last time.
Speaking of the Nyra Now app, where you can watch this finale.
Where I will watch. I love the Nyra Now app.
I love it. I agree with you. You have to download it and catch live racing, replays, expert analysis from Andy Serling and others.
It's like I carried away.
It's a free app download on iPhone, iPad, Android, Chromecast, and Roku. Download the Nyra Now app today and keep up to date with everything from Belmont, including catching this finale, race 10, coming up in just 21 minutes. Of course, coming up this weekend, it is the Grade 2 $300,000 Kelso 37th running of this race. And Sharp Azteca back in action off that romp in the Grade 3 Monmouth Cup.
It'll be interesting to see if he can bring his game to New York. He ran very well when he finished second the Met Mile behind More Spirit, who's been MIA since then. If he runs that race, he's long gone in here. We'll be interested to see, though, if he can duplicate that performance. I'm going to take a small shot he can.
Well, Divining Rod, 2-1 second choice in this race, coming out of the Grade 1 Forgo in the likes of Dreyfong last time out.
That's his 3rd start off the layoff. He came back 2 weeks after his return, and so it's understandable he didn't run as well in the Forgo. Obviously, he runs this race. He can win in here. He's the 2-1 second choice. If I'm trying to beat Smart Azteca, though, I want a bigger price than 2-1. That's why I'm going to Birdsong.
So, Birdsong, really. Julian Leperoux there for Ian Wilkes, coming out of the Vanderbilt last time out.
But against a gold rail, Greg.
All right. with more on Divining Rod. Gabby, what are your thoughts for the race on Saturday?
I hate to say it, but I really do think Sharp Aztec is going to be the horse to beat. Not only does he look like the main speed, but he's just been in such tremendous form recently. I don't like Birdsong to try to beat him, and we'll get to that a little bit later, but I do respect Andy's opinion. However, the 4 Divining Rod, this horse could be set and ready to go third start off of the layoff here. Of course, he was sidelined for quite some time after November, and he came back with an explosive performance at Laurel. And talking to Arnaud Delacour, he said it was just a whole bunch of minor injuries that set him back. He just couldn't get him quite together to bring him back to the races. But a big confidence booster against a mediocre field last time out. Now Daniel Centeno was aboard, so a rider switch there. And guys, he's been aboard for the last 3 victories for Divining Rod. So definitely think he's got a big shot today or this weekend, thinking that he could probably just sit right off the speed.
Take that, Andy Serling. No Birdsong for Gabby.
I really admire that Gabby is suggesting that the 2-to-1 second choice is the best horse to try to upset a 4-to-5 shot, while dismissing my 12-to-1 fifth choice. I think that's a really admirable position to take, Gabby.
What did you think of his last race though? Because I loved him on the turn back, and maybe El Deal just ran the whole field off of their feet, but I was not impressed by that performance.
Gee, I like betting horses at big prices off of 5 wide trips against the biggest gold rails of the year, which El Deal rolled. So I have some reservations about Birdsong, and Sharp Azteca shows up. Birdsong's not going to beat him. And the good Divining Rod might be better, but Birdsong is going to be a bigger price than he should be because he was way against the track last time out. He's a better horse than he showed that day. He'll outrun his odds. Still might not be good enough to win.
Yeah, it'll have to be a lot better than he was on that occasion. Gabby, thank you very much. See you back on our Friday show as we continue along, roll into the rest of the week and get set for a big weekend. This race, of course, will happen on Saturday. It's going to be a good one. We're not done quite yet.
Excellent. I can stick around for another hour.
Do you remember what happened earlier in the day? We started off the card with a couple of races over the jumps.
Yeah.
How about that?
One of them,
Jonathan
grade
Shepherd,
1.
Hall of Famer, getting the win. You mentioned he had to bring that up. His streak came to an end a couple of years ago. But how many? 46 years in a row?
47 years in a row. He won a race at Saratoga. And, you know, people think of him as just a jump trainer. He's won some big races. He won the test with Sintra back in 1983.
All the way, Jose getting it done for the Hall of Famer Jonathan Shepherd in the Grade 1 Lonesome Glory. That was back in race 2 earlier on in the card with Darren Nagel in the irons. And then later, it was the 3-year-old taking it to the elders, Hobo, David Donk, John Velasquez getting the win, the improving turf runner. We'll see you on Friday at 4 Eastern. Take care.